Are we live?
I think.
Uh,
There's a little spinny thing, so maybe not.
Maybe we're not live yet.
So maybe that's what happens when you're live.
I don't know.
I don't know. We're streaming live from
Maybe?
our page.
Wait.
Maybe we're live? The computer's doing lots of things. We don't know what it means.
How can you tell?
Anyway.
Yeah, it says we're live now. Okay.
Okay. Hi, everybody.
Guess.
We're
Hey,
live.
there we are.
Oh, there we are. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, we're Oneshi Press. We're doing an unscheduled live stream video because we want to talk about cool stuff that is happening at Oneshi Press and share it with you. So
we realize, we've been talking a lot about Mr. Guy for this Kickstarter that we're doing. And the Kickstarter is a two-part Kickstarter. And so there's two things to it, 2 books to be precise. So, as many of you know, Mr. Guy, we're really excited about it. I've been working on the character of Mr. Guy since I was a little kid.
A hui bairn.
A hui what?
Bairn.
Bairn?
Yeah, it's Scottish for baby.
Oh, okay. Hui bairn.
You never watched Lady and the Tramp?
I guess I did a while ago. What was I saying? Yeah, Mr. Guy. It's really exciting. So Mr. Guy is an artthology. I wrote the entire story. I actually even wrote the next 2 installations. And in this installation, there are 4 chapters. Each chapter is done by a different artist. So we have a beautiful cover done by Sana, and then a little 1-page intro starring Kung Fu Catfish, my oldest character, my OGOC, if you will. Sorry. So I illustrated the Kung Fu Catfish intro, and then I illustrated Arc 1. And then I passed the torch to Walter Osley, and Walter illustrates beautifully, I might add, Arc 2, and then Walter passes it to Diana Camero, who illustrates Arc 3 wonderfully. It's just a fun, energetic, exciting cartoon splatterfest. And then Diana passes it off to JC Chase, who finishes up the book with Arc 4, and we have guest art by Sophia Murphy. And Sophia Murphy also did the cover of Anthology 10, Origins, which is what we're going to talk to you about right now.
Yeah, we
because
figured
Origins is cool.
You already know probably a decent amount about Mr. Guy. We've been talking about it a lot, but what we haven't talked about quite so much in a lot of our outward-facing thingies.
Hey, Joey.
Oh, hey, Joey. Is the Origins Anthology, which is also part of this Kickstarter. And the reason that they're sort of smushed together into one Kickstarter, A, is so that we don't have to run 2 Kickstarters, because Kickstarters are a lot of work.
They're a lot of work.
But also because we feel like they're both Origins related. In Act 1 of Mr. Guy, we find out how Mr. Guy became a zombie hunter, how he got this infection in his arm that has a talking skull coming out of it. And our next anthology was going to be about Origins anyway. So we put them together into one gigundo Kickstarter that is full to bursting with talent. And we want to talk to you about what's going on in the Origins Anthology, because it is this massive, it's going to be a perfect bound book with a big, thick spine.
Show them 8 and 9. So we have the last 2 anthologies.
Here's the last one that we did.
Okay, this is Anthology 9.
As you can see, it's got a nice thick spine on it, it's got about 112 pages inside, I think.
This is the same format that we're using for Anthology 10. So when we say an anthology, this is a book. If you dropped it on your toe would hurt for a long time. I use that line a lot. I'm sorry, guys.
Well, it's true. We drop books on our toes sometimes.
I did it once. And just the corner of the spine hit right on my pinky toe, and that's it. That's all I can think about now when we print these big honking books like that.
And they're gorgeous. We print them on really high quality paper and everything, and they're full color. So when you are turning the pages, it's really it's like a sumptuous reading experience.
Not to mention the quality of the art and the stories, and that's what we really want to talk about right now.
Yeah.
So we start off with the cover of Anthology 10, which Sophia Murphy did such an amazing job illustrating. And if you check our Kickstarter, you can see what the cover looks like. We put a lot of the art and samples of art in the campaign, so you can check that out.
Yeah, unfortunately we don't have a printed copy yet, so we can't leaf through it and show you on here, which we would love to. But
Kickstarter is to get copies printed.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
So, yeah. And Sophia used characters from Children of Gaia, which is an ongoing story that, I've been working on with Chris since the mid-90s. Lynsey is one of our writers. Pete Lampisono is one of our writers. And a few others help us with development. Lori and Jenny. And, we've got a growing group. Anyway, so a couple of characters from Children of Gaia appear on the cover, and it's just so freaking cool. And then we open up with an intro by Voopy Times. A Real Cowboy is Voopy Times' original comic book story, and this intro is kind of like a little bit of a teaser for that. So the characters that you'll see in the intro to this anthology are the main characters from Voopy's upcoming series.
Yeah, and we don't want to do
gorgeous.
too many spoilers about that story because I don't know what Voopy is like holding back.
Right,
and not.
We want to let Voopy be the one to present
can
that.
we give the basic kind of?
Yeah, I think so.
So, Voopy's story is A Real Cowboy, and it's about Zephaniah, who is a trans man, cowboy character in, I think, the late-ish 19th century, like, old American West.
Yeah, 1800s.
And also a black cowboy. So, like, all of these things together make his life rather tumultuous.
His whole group is actually pretty diverse, and yeah. So I mean, it's a
rollicking story, I believe.
Yeah, and they're trying to make their way across the West in the 1800s, and that is exceptionally dangerous for anyone, let alone a group of minorities. So it's really interesting and really beautiful, really well thought out. I mean, Voopy has been thinking about this and planning this and talking about this for a long time, designing these beautiful characters.
And in the intro, we don't get a whole lot of the story of what's going on. It's actually the characters introducing the stories that are going to be in our anthology. But we get like a little bit of a taste of what that comic is going to look like and who the characters are before it's ready.
Every anthology starts off with a little intro that's just someone's original character introducing the other stories in the anthology. It's a lot of fun. Did we miss
Joey says, I feel like every time I see you two go live, your pillows in the background multiply.
Yeah, we even have some pillows that we really can't show on stream, so we actually remove those pillows.
We're pillow collectors, I guess. Okay, so
yeah,
after the intro,
the first one is Tracy Queen, Volume 3, Volume 3, Chapter 1, right?
I don't know. There's a lot of different ways we could break it down.
Yeah, so it's 3.1.
For anyone who doesn't know, Tracy Queen is one of our original stories. I write and he draws. And we've been publishing Tracy Queen in 8-page segments in each of the anthologies so far. So this is going to be the 10th installment. 2
collected volumes, and this coming out in the Origins Anthology will be the first chapter of Volume 3. So this is 1, beautiful cover by Stevie Ray Vaughan. This is 2, beautiful cover by Tangmo Sacchini. And 3, we don't know who the cover of that will be by yet because we haven't made it yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, so 3 is kicked off in the Origins Anthology. So that's cool and exciting.
So when we start Volume 3 of Tracy Queen, Tracy is continuing her evolution from like a mob boss to an adult film star. And she has been webcamming, and then she branched out in Volume 2 into working with other people on camera and like filming full scenes with people. And when we start Volume 3, she's like, all right, well, I did that, and now I'm bored, and what am I going to do? But she's kind of trapped because her grandfather, who is the crime boss that she used to work for, is basically sitting outside of her house all the time, or one of his men who work for him is sitting outside of her house in a car all the time watching to see if she leaves or what she's doing. So she's pretty much trapped in her house, and she's bored, and she wants something to change, but she doesn't know what to do with herself.
Grandfather wants to own her. Dickie Doublefinger, the porn mogul, wants to own her. Like, just all these...
She's like, I'm just trying to make porn.
Want to own her as she's becoming more and more powerful in herself. And that's really, I think, the emphasized, like, the key takeaway, I think, in this chapter is that this is like her becoming, her origins into who she is, you know. And all these people are seeing that and trying to grab it. They're trying to own her. They want to have that. They want her success to be their success. And she's just all middle fingers about it.
Leave me alone. Just let me do my thing. But nobody wants to because she's a woman. They're not supposed to do stuff by themselves.
So then we go into Skull Planet, written by Patrick McAvoy and illustrated by Olivia Pelaez. And let's hear about Skull Planet.
So Skull Planet it's actually like intricate and not at the same time. So I'm going to try to give like the short version.
Yeah,
basically, Skull Planet is a short comic where there are space explorers in the far future, and they're trying to go into Skull Planet to get something very specific. And they get into this planet atmosphere, and there's people there, which they were not expecting. And these people are acting very weird. And I don't want to give away too much, but basically space vampires who are thirsting not specifically just for blood. They're pop culture vampires. And I'm going to leave it there because it's really off the wall, really funny, from the mind of Patrick McAvoy, who has written a lot of short comics. We actually had a few submissions from him, and they were all really interesting, but this one just felt right, because we're talking about origins, and we're like, throughout the comic, you're sort of searching for like, what is going on with these vampires?
Like, what are the origins?
Where is all this weird dialogue coming from? And again, I don't want to get too specific with it, but it's funny. And the art has this really cool kind of like 60s to 70s like golden age of comics feel to it. Sort of like color, like gradients instead of like fully like shaded and lit.
I wonder if it was made traditionally. I actually didn't ask.
I don't know.
It's really cool looking though. I mean, if it wasn't, it was definitely, I think, styled to emulate that golden age kind of look, and it's really cool. It's nice. I like it. And then we move into Lomac 2.3. So this is what
6.
This is the 6th installment of Lomac.
So we've done 10 anthologies, and 6 of them have 8 pages of Lomac, the Giant Warrior Angel by Miguel Colon.
Can you read what Joey said?
Joey said, "You had me at space vampires," right?
Right.
So Lomac, the Giant Warrior Angel is this ongoing story from Miguel Colon, who is primarily a fine artist. He mostly works in paints, I think, in oils.
Tempera.
Oh, that's right.
Egg tempera. Right, like.
So he's kind of a genius, and we are like so excited that we've been working with him for so long. We're really hoping that at some point soon we can put together a full volume, like a collected volume of Lomac.
Yeah, that would be so cool.
Because the character Lomac is this post-apocalyptic blue mutant with this gigantic orange mohawk. Like, it's like probably in real life it would be like 1.5 feet tall. And he's wandering through the post-apocalyptic wasteland, kind of looking for like a home. And he finds this village that he's more or less settling down in, and then basically the forces of post-apocalyptic evil come down on him.
And whatnot.
And they identify him as like the warrior in this village, and so he has to fight, and there's all this intrigue going on now. And in this new installment, we go like deep into Lomac's mind, and we see what's going on with him in sort of like a dreamscape. So we go a lot deeper into the origins of Lomac, the Giant Warrior Angel. And the
Big
art
blue.
is just, it's so good. The character himself is so stylized, and like yet so fully, completely designed. I don't really understand like all the art terminology to use there, but it's just gorgeous. So really excited about it.
So then we have Beanstalk, written by John Crowther and illustrated by Jorge Luis Gabato. And it is just so sweet and touching and beautiful and actually a little gross at the same time.
Yeah.
There's like a couple parts where it's like,
it's not super
but it's
friendly.
like, Yeah, it's like a dark kids book.
Mm.
You know, like
Yeah.
where they show the part that they don't show in the kids book. You know, but it's really beautiful. It's got a heart of gold. It's really sweet and touching, very sincere. The ending is like, oh, that's so beautiful. You know, but like, yeah, it's really fun. It's yeah.
Joey says, "Yes, mutants with mohawks. I need this."
Yes.
You do. It's so good.
Mutants with
So-
mohawks. Yeah, Beanstalk is great. It speaks for itself. The art is just
Oh my
so
gosh.
beautiful.
Yeah, we've
It's
never worked with
wonderful.
Jorge Luis Gabbado before, but I hope that we get to again because I love the work that he's done. It's so fun.
And then Quantum 1.2, written by Lanata Peppers and illustrated by James Mason, is fantastic. It's the art is wonderful. The writing is super like pointed, relevant, swift. It has a nice flow to it. Yeah, what else do we want to say about Quantum?
I'm really excited about Quantum. So Quantum is a comic about an indigenous superhero who is trying to find her missing sister. This is going to be the second installment that we've done. So there's a lot yet to come. We're still like in the early days, but basically the character, Melanie Highwater, lives and teaches on the Northern Cheyenne Reservation in eastern Montana, and her sister goes missing right around the same time that Melanie discovers that there's something going on with her. I would call them superpowers, but that's because I kind of know where the story is going. When it happens to Melanie, she's like, what the hell is going on? Basically, she kind of discovers that she can not exactly fly, but she can float. And then she can come back down to Earth, like so hard that she causes a gigantic crater to form around her. And she's just like, what's happening? I think that one of the first times that it happens is when she's at her girlfriend's and they're making out on the couch.
Oh yeah,
And she breaks the couch suddenly, like for no apparent reason. So she's trying to figure out what's going on with her. And then her sister goes missing, which is a huge problem, particularly I think in this part of our country. Indigenous women are going missing like way more than they should be, and it's a huge issue. So Lanata Peppers, aka Lenny Peppers, some of you out in Facebook land may be familiar with her by that name, is writing this story that is really tackling a lot of very important current issues, and at the same time exploring this whole superpower angle. And she's working with her husband James Mason, who is an illustrator and did most of this is traditionally done artwork, so it's done by hand, and it's gorgeous.
Super impressive. And then, so we move into Twinkle Sky Painter, which Twinkle was the story and illustration is all by Yuki Dog Zombie, and Yuki had asked me to help with the writing. So I wrote it in that I took her concepts and turned them into a script for her to then help her then follow along and illustrate it. So I wrote it technically, but really it's her story and it's her illustration, it's her heart on those pages, and it's just beautiful, it's triumphant, it's, about overcoming your fears to do what you really want to do. It's really sweet. It's beautiful. Yuki's art just always makes me feel lighter. It brings joy.
Yeah.
It's like, it's really good.
If anyone out there is not familiar with Yuki Dog Zombie's art, look her up. She does mostly watercolors. And this is watercolor too. Twinkle is also watercolor. So again, all done by hand. And the story is just so sweet. It is just so kind and sweet and loving. And it's an origin story about how the stars got up there. So I think that if you're into like lighthearted and sweet comics, this is 100,000% up your alley.
So then we move into Corollary, written by Adam Rose, illustrated by Robert Ahmad, and lettered by DC Hopkins. And let's talk about Corollary. I feel like I've been taking a lot of the...
Okay. Well, Corollary is, I think, the shortest comic in the book. It's only 4 pages long, plus a beautiful cover art page.
Yeah, really beautiful.
So 5 pages, I guess, technically. And it is set in like a universe where if you are a twin, you and your twin are connected in such a way that if one of you dies, the other one does too. Until one day, they don't. So the story is
one particular person.
This one particular person who should have died because her twin did not die, and now she's like this intergalactic celebrity because everyone wants to know how it happened and whether they can replicate those or not. Right. So she's like going around the universe, I guess. Maybe it's just the galaxy. I'm not sure. Talking about what happened to her and her twin, and basically she's getting rich because like everywhere she goes, she gets people to give her
celebrity
stuff.
Status. Yeah.
And again, I'm not going to give away spoilers or anything, but it packs quite a lot of world building and storytelling into 4 pages. It's really impressive.
Yeah, it's really cool to see how much you get to know about this place and these peoples in just 4 pages. A lot of beautiful art packed in there too.
Yeah, the art is really stylized. It's black and white. But it's really like fully formed for a black and white comic, and it's a really cool story told by a lot of like pretty heavy hitters. I'm actually pretty psyched that we got to work with DC Hopkins. He's like a big deal letterer who works for really big companies. We actually have an interview that we did with him that's up on the Oneshi Press blog today, where he talks a little bit about being a letterer in comics and like what that means. Which is really interesting because I think a lot of people don't spend a lot of time thinking about lettering, but it's obviously a gigantic part of comics. So anyway.
Then we move on to Children of Gaia, the Ravati. So this will be our 4th Children of Gaia 8-page story.
I think so.
We've had Refuge, we've had Carrying Iron, we've had Trinkets, and then this will be Ravati. Yeah, that's the 4th one. And so we've also put out a 150-page book, Great Nations, and then a 120-page Children of Gaia book, War and Horses. So the Ravati is an origins tale written and illustrated by both Chris Cavelli and myself. We did the writing together and we're doing the illustrating together, passing things back and forth. Super close quarters collaboration. And this tells about the origins of the Terran Empire and how they got their start. Hint, it involves giant dinosaurs and ancient robots. Read into that what you will. Yeah, so that's really fun. I'm really excited about it. Really proud of that collaboration. I think it's one of the coolest things I've worked on yet.
The art is really beautiful.
Yeah, it's...
Good job. Also, good job, Chris.
Good job, Chris. Love you, buddy. And then Bloom Squad, Part 2.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And also Kagi Ravati, lettered by Cardinal Ray, who also lettered Sky Painter, The Intro, Tracy Queen, NPAC, and all of Mr. Guy. So, yeah, just wanted to throw that out there. Cardinal Ray, you're the best. You know you are. We love you. Not to say that anyone isn't as good or better or whatever. I just mean we love you, Cardinal Ray.
So the best.
The best Cardinal Ray.
Yeah,
Not putting anyone down.
So Bloom Squad. This is part 2 of Bloom Squad. Part 1 came out in our 9th anthology. And it is written by James Wayne Johnson, who is local here to Missoula. Also, so are Lanata Peppers and James Mason. We always love promoting local creators, so I should have said that the first time around. So Bloom Squad is written by James Wayne Johnson, and it is illustrated by Marcelo Salasa. And it's continuing the story of this prize fighter named Ed, who threw a fight in Las Vegas and then peaced out. And he is being looked for by a group of very powerful telepaths. And one of them is tracking him to Missoula, Montana. Right here. There's a lot of other subplots that are starting to come in, but that's still sort of our main storyline, so that's the one that I'm going to tell you about. This is a black and white comic, but again, like, you are not missing anything without the color. Marcelo Salasa does a really incredible job.
It's like scary good, like mutant good.
Yeah.
How does he do that?
Yeah, it's a really cool story, and we happen to know a lot about like the larger world and everything.
Yeah,
'cause we've
James has
talked to
given
James
us all
about it,
the
and we're really
a
excited
whole bunch of the
about.
spoilers, and we know where it's going, and
Yeah.
it's really cool.
It's gonna be so cool.
So then, oh sorry.
No, go ahead.
Then we have The Tower Calls, written by Reed Hinckley Barnes and illustrated by Raymond Griffith.
I'm really excited about this
The
one.
Tower Calls is really deep and beautiful and kind of dreamscapey and
A little creepy.
a little creepy
And a little erotic.
a little erotic. It's sexy. It's like it's a lot to try and describe
Yeah.
in like a cursory, like, oh, let me give you the rundown on this, like, gently,
It's something. I'm sorry, I just moved my chair while I was live on camera. I don't want to. It's another one where I don't want to give away too much because it's very cerebral. But I feel like cool stuff. Space travel, creepy tower, very dark towery. LGBTQ love scene, and very unexpected ending. And gorgeous, 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 gorgeous art. From Raymond Griffith. Raymond Griffith. He has a different name that he goes by on some of his social media, so I can never remember his real name. But his art is stunning, and I'm like writing his name down in places because I'm hoping that we get to work with him again.
And so next up, I know, like, how many amazing stories have we told you guys about already? And we're still going. This is all in one book,
Yeah, we got a few more.
Like, if you like being entertained and you like things that are cool and good, I mean, like,
I'm just gonna say it. If you support this Kickstarter and get this book, you will never be bored again. Never. Not in your whole life.
So
Money back guarantee. That's not true. I can't guarantee that.
Ziegler Box Part 3, written by Shaka Brown Freeman and Gregory Gallagher, illustrated by Vicente Alcazar, and lettered by Nori Sander. It is
intense. It's dark
deep,
and intense.
It's dark. It's got like a lot of intrigue and backstory. It's super atmospheric. It's written in kind of like almost like detective noir kind of like
if it
vibe.
was a poem?
And it's very poetic. It's very like, it's got almost like a fine art bent to the storytelling, which is really fascinating and very gripping, but
it's also really fast paced.
Yeah, and so it's this vampire with two thirsts and his quest to quell them both, and there's a lot of backstory unfolding here, and more so wanting to know about the origins than necessarily giving away what the origins are, because really it's about the question, not the answer, right? So, and I mean, Vicente Alcazar's work is just mind-blowing.
It's like every panel is like a oil painting.
You might have seen Vicente's work in M3, or Jonah Hex, or Vampirella, right?
He's done a ton of.
Yeah.
He's been around for a long time, doing a lot of amazing comics, and we're like so excited that we get to work with him. We also did an interview with him on the blog. It's a little ways back. One of the previous times that we published Ziegler Box.
If you look up on our blog, you can look up Vicente, or you can look up Alcazar, you can look up Ziegler Box, any of those things, and you'll get that interview. Again, that's oneshipress.com, and there's a search function right at the top, so you can just type in whatever you want and hit enter, and it'll bring you to whatever blogs have that on our site. And then there is Pack 3.3. So this is the third installment of issue 3 of Pack. So far we've put out 2 complete issues, and this is
completing the third.
And it tells about, it finally reveals the origins of Temperance, one of the 6 dogs in the pack. And it's sad, it's touching, it's beautiful. It does kind of like, it touches on some current events, because Pack is a vigilante story, but there's also police in it. There's, it's also about gentrification. It's also like inner city. There's a lot going on there in that in that short 8 pages. So yeah, I think it's a good way to finish up the book. It finishes up Pack, and it finishes up the Origins Anthology.
But we missed one.
What did we miss?
We somehow we're scrolling through the list on the credits page, and I think we just managed to skip over Thirst for Expansion, which is up at the beginning.
I thought we talked about Thirst for Expansion.
No, we did not talk about Thirst for Expansion.
By Gaston Genser.
Which is a damn shame.
Thank you so much for catching that.
Yeah, so Thirst for Expansion is, I think, actually the longest one in the book. I think it's like 11 pages long. And it was written and illustrated and lettered all by Gaston Genser, who is this like amazing powerhouse of creativity.
Possibly an android.
It could be. And it's this tale where, like, again, I don't want to give away too much of the detail here, but it's about basically this like unending, ravening horde that spills throughout the galaxy and destroys everything in its path. And also talks about where this horde begins, which is to say, I can't tell you.
But its origins relevant.
If you love horror, if you love monsters, I feel like if you love Lovecraft, there's something very Lovecraftian about this. And there's just so much amazing art of like all these different kinds of monsters just like freaking taking over like a city and fighting with each other, and it's like so creepy and so cool. Again, it's like there's kind of like a hidden thing there, and I can't tell you what it is, so I don't want to go on about it too long, but it's amazing.
We're a half hour in, so I think we'll call it there. Yeah.
Wow.
Everybody, you're awesome. We love you. Thank you so much for hanging out. Thanks for watching.
Yeah,
people in the future who are watching this, please, I hope the future is awesome.
But here's the thing. We're kickstarting this right now.
Oh, yeah.
We're kickstarting. And we are hoping that if you are into any of the things that we talked about and you want to get in on this anthology, you will help support the Kickstarter either with a pledge if you're able. Everybody who pledges at, I think, $10 and up will get this and Mr. Guy digitally, and then obviously there's a whole bunch of other stuff that you can get also. But even if you're not able to pledge right now, if you can like our post, like this video, comment on it. Comments help a lot. Really, really important.
When you see us posting about the Kickstarter, just drop a comment. Say what you like about it. Say what you think is cool about it.
Yeah.
That
or
helps
about us.
Tremendously.
Whatever. Anything helps. Or if you can go to the Kickstarter, you can follow the actual campaign. That helps us a lot. It shows Kickstarter that people are interested in what we're doing. We've got about a little bit less than a week and a half left in the Kickstarter, so now we're getting into like crunch time. So every little thing that you can do, even if it's just like, having dinner with your family and telling them about it and telling them that they should check it out, like every little thing
let a friend know.
Helps us enormously. So anything you can do to get the word out is great, because this collection, this anthology alone, has over 24 creators involved, and we are trying to
almost
print
3
their
dozen.
work, get it out into the world, and so we're not asking for us necessarily.
Yeah, almost 3 dozen people are kind of counting on us right now.
Yeah,
no pressure.
We really want to get this book out. We want to print it. We want them to be able to hold copies of it in their hand, sell it at conventions, or whatever they want to do with it. And it's very dependent on whether we reach our goal or not by the 31st of July. So anything you can do to help us get that word out really, really helps us enormously, and we appreciate it so much.
And of course, we'll be posting that link to the Kickstarter pretty much everywhere on our personal pages, on all of our, on the Oneshi Press page, on everywhere. But yeah, and if you want to know more, you can check out oneshipress.com or MrGuyComic.com if you want to know about Mr. Guy. Mr. Guy is super cool. You're going to love Mr. Guy.
Joey says, space vampires, Mohawk mutants. What else can you ask for? That's
what
a great
else can you
tagline.
ask for? I mean, really.
We got beanstalks. We got superheroes.
I love beanstalks.
We got sky painters. We got space vampires. I mean, we got it all.
We got a pack of vigilante dogs. I mean, we've got people being trained by robots riding dinosaurs. Like, what?
We've got 14 short comics inside of a gorgeous cover, all of it created by like 24 amazing people, and we want to give it to you.
We want you to have it. We want
to
it on
have
your
it.
shelf.
It will keep
Everybody involved wants it on your shelf.
It will keep you so entertained, and it's going to be so beautiful. So we hope that we can get it to you.
All right, guys, we're going to end it there. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Love you. Bye.